This conference will now be recorded.
I call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board to order. I'll accept a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Oh, we need to go for all eyes or.
Oh, yeah. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now.
Any opposed?
considering the
You have to
minutes,
say any opposed.
Maybe no opposed. Any opposed? Consideration of the minutes.
So we're gonna make a motion, minutes of August 9th, 2022.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Public comment.
Everybody here has an action item, so.
All right, so no public comment. Let's move on to action items.
I'll make a motion that we visit the first action item, reorganization of the board.
Please.
You want to go include? Who? Yeah. The motion, that way you don't have to go back, or do you guys want to discuss it?
Yeah, okay, I'll include the reorganization of the board, Betty to be chairman and Scott to be vice chairman.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
All right. I'll make a motion that we visit the second action item, water services in the ETZ for Young's Mobile Home Development.
Second.
Crystal.
All right. This slide? Okay. The Young's Mobile Home is creating a subdivision out on 17th and Young. This is the 40+ acre area that they're looking at. This area would have, so what they've designed it for is 22 little over acre lots. With they will have interior roads, which would be chip seal, correct? Yeah, chip seal roads. And they'll divide these up and have water and sewer on them. What they are requesting is that if we would allow them to get city water, which city water goes right over there to the southwest corner or southeast corner of their property, right across the street is the new fire department, Station 2. We do have water to that location. So they would get the water and then take it over to their side and do a loop system. And then that would allow them to do 40 lots at a little over 1 acre, and they would do septic tanks on each of those lots. That is their request.
Are you gonna bring it to the city limits? Sorry, first
Go
question.
ahead and come up.
Daniel John Cox, and thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioner. I appreciate you guys letting us come before you today. We didn't plan on bringing it into city limits. We wanted to do a county spec subdivision, and we want to bring the crossroads, right here with Elm and Fir. We're just going to come right straight across there and put a little over 1 acre lots is what we were planning on doing. We were going to pay for obviously all of the infrastructure for the water and pay for water taps, and obviously the customers will be paying for the water itself. When we originally came up with this idea years ago, it was a couple years ago, everybody, thought we could get that done. And then when we came down to submit the plat, there was an issue with, I think, with maybe water pressure or something. Okay, and so that didn't happen. Well, through the whole process of developing land, it just takes time. And because we're here now, we thought we would resubmit maybe an opportunity to do 1 acre lots and have more affordable home ownership instead of doing 20, we were gonna try to do 40 lots in there. So we thought it would be an opportunity for us to partner with the city and pay for the infrastructure and maybe generate a little more revenue and use city water. Is kind of what we're thinking about. We appreciate your consideration.
So it'd be just city water and garbage, not sewer.
No, sir.
No, sir.
And one of the reasons why is because of the cost.
And I understand it costs, but it costs as much percent too, but.
And it wouldn't necessarily even be the trash pickup because it is in the county.
Oh, that's right.
So the residents would do their own, so that would not add to our.
On our ordinance, it does say that if you have water service, you have to have a trash service.
But they would just have to show that they have the trash service. We wouldn't have, they wouldn't have to. It would be through our billing.
Whenever you go with over, make sure they give that to the water.
Yeah, there would be some issues we'd have to work out on that.
Sure.
Whether they wanted to participate, whether in your contracts with them, that you put in that they have to have the trash service through the city, or whether you put in that they would have to prove to the city that they have trash service.
If you,
It would be one of those things.
whatever y'all would prefer.
I know basically coming into the city and being annexed in would require them to have actual
Curb and gutter.
curb, gutter, and streets, sidewalks, that type of thing. So that's a lot more of an expenditure on the
Okay.
infrastructure. Like I said, they're doing chip sealed roads with the lots.
Chip seal roads are just good as some right now, right? Have y'all done sorry, see how much water you're really gonna need?
How much water are we gonna need?
Have we got,
Most of these homes, we have in the restricted covenants, very limited watering of lawns, no pools. All these homes are built with low flow water faucets, and shower heads, and dishwasher. So they're built to specification to not use a lot of water. Typically, a family that buys one of these homes is going to use a half acre foot of water a year.
So I have a question. You said when you guys submitted this before, you were told no because of the water pressure issue.
yeah, but that
Has
was.
that been resolved or?
That was
Do another
before we
study?
redid the line going up,
Yeah.
because they did a new water line up to the fire
Fire
station.
department, fire station.
The fire station 2 had to have a new line put up 17th from the intersection of Jefferson. That's why we also have the new sidewalks that are out there in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
There's sidewalks there, but we don't have sidewalks.
Good, I know, it's a big new water line. I don't know if the city has enough water right now until we get all the wells fixed to supply another.
About how long would it take to develop this? I mean,
We had the property
On six year.
out 6 years. And we're just now setting up our very last home out on Moppat. Do y'all know Pat Rogers?
Uh-huh.
She's my brother-in-law's mom, okay? I don't know, y'all know Doug? That might not be good, but
you got one shot something.
Ronnie and Pat Rogers, and so all the football boys used to call her Mom Pat. So that's why we named that street Mom Pat, not their other 6 year. But we are setting up our very last home out there. I think we have like 40 properties out there. And we have been down that property for 10, 12 years.
I was gonna say 10.
Yeah, it's been 10, 12 years. So it's not.
It's not for.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No, this is gonna be a 10-year project, yeah, maybe 3 houses a year, maybe.
Mhm.
4.
If all this is approved, when do you expect construction to start?
Probably within 6 months. We would want to build our first road. But we have a lot to do. We have to come here, then we have to go to the city commission,
Mhm.
then we have to go to the county commission, okay? there's a lot of time lag and all that in between there, but we would love to be able to get a construction going by June of next year on our first road. Yeah, our first phase. Yes, ma'am.
This is my first time here, but I will ask this. We in Lovington really don't have what we call a senior citizen home area.
Yeah.
Would you consider that, being that we don't have anything and you say it's lower cost? Would it be something that the city could talk about and you guys?
This,
Rather than being something that, in other words, it would probably cut down on the use of water if you looked at more senior, rather than people that had children and, you know, that kind of activity. I was just wondering if you thought of that, because we don't have senior citizen here in Lovington,
I appreciate,
not very much.
I appreciate that question. I appreciate that comment. Senior living, and we don't. And I've got my dad in a senior assisted living in Fort Worth. It's the best money to buy, and it's got worth down. So I agree with you that we need more affordable housing for seniors, and really a country subdivision probably wouldn't be,
No.
in my opinion,
Where you,
good for seniors like my mom, for example, is very social. She would want to be close and maybe with a whole lot of people. And this is just a market rate, but it's in the affordable range of home ownership. People talk about affordable
Yeah.
housing all the time, but this is actually home ownership.
Well, that's what I mean. I know like over in Lubbock, they have them set up and people move into them for the purpose of being able to be, the lawns are taken care of, but they actually do not require care.
Yeah, that's an independent living, and that's, we're
Right.
talking about Raider Ranch.
Right.
Probably, I'm familiar with that. Ma'am, no, this is for single family.
Okay. Now, would you do landscaping in that?
No, ma'am, we don't do any landscaping. We try to keep it as native as possible. I mean, if you don't touch that grass out there, it'll look just like that in 20 years. If you run over it and you try to cultivate it, a lot of times it doesn't look worse than it does right now. I think it looks great, which I feel.
So tell me, so you mentioned a few things about the covenants, and maybe this will come into play when you show your plating of the subdivision and the roads.
should be a plat in your packet.
It's in there.
I just see the sign there.
You don't go no further to it.
I was told not to investigate further than what was being presented to me. I got scolded for that. So,
Now, anything I add to your package.
but you're talking 1 acre lots, so, but I guess, oh, I see that, yeah.
See, that's
I
the
thought it
2
was a house.
No, that's the 2
I
acre
didn't
lot.
zoom it up. So anyway, in the restrictive covenants there, not allowed to raise animals, or they are allowed to raise animals. Is that part of the thing, why you want to keep it out of the city so that people can have animals?
Actually, it's in with 1 mile, and if it's an R1, they're not allowed to have livestock. They're not allowed to have trucking companies. Same as what you did at the mall path without any, you know.
We had one person out there on Malpath that didn't follow the rules. And
They're having some issues
Yeah.
getting that trucking company out of there.
Well, if you violate the covenants, can't the homeowners just go ahead and say,
The homeowners can't, they have to get together.
They have to get,
And that's
do a
all.
civil case.
They have to hire a lawyer. Sometimes what we'll do when we see situations like that, like when we saw that fellow, I mean, I personally went out there and knocked on his door and said, you know, this isn't allowed. But, you know, short of hiring a lawyer and filing a lawsuit against him, that's what you have to do in a situation like that. That's kind of what happens. You guys have some zoning here. We don't have any zoning in homes. So,
And they don't have any zoning out at Mawpat, it's only their covenants that holds. They're just at the edge of our ETZ. We did try to do something with it through ETZ, and he was denied to change that zone. But
Right.
it's still operating.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you need to get with the county on their, because they have code enforcement. Push it a little harder on the citations, and that may get that guy to bring it in.
I have a question.
we do try to handle as much as we can.
Yeah.
We don't like to oppose you know, kids from like Raising a Goat for FFA or, you know, for the fair, stuff like that, you know. And usually we don't see a whole lot of that. We don't see a whole lot of that on Wampat,
You won't see a lot of it at the fair anymore.
you know, but we haven't had a big issue. Most, everybody has this vision of horses and all that, but you got a 4 horse too.
I don't know, so I had to ask. So let me throw this, so let's go back to water. Does that include, you were talking about not having pools, is that above ground? So that the people are obeying that out at the mall.
Haven't seen any.
Okay.
Haven't seen any pools at any of our developments that I know of.
Yes.
Yes, you're looking at 20 lots at 2 acres plus, okay? And with the city water, access to the city water for the subdivision, you're looking to make it 40 lots, 1 acre plus. If you were denied this, would you still go ahead with the 20 lot, 2 acre? And how are you going to provide water out there? Wells? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing, I mean, we have a test well out there right now. I don't have the information on those.
Right, the thing is with the city, that's one question that we all have is with the water. So we'd have to,
As far as the water availability,
right,
Yeah.
what we have.
Yeah, because right now we're having
problems with your wet wells or your pumps or what?
little bulbs.
I know that in a lot, I don't know about here because I don't have the information yet, but a lot of the areas that we have data on, we drill our wells and we're hitting water at about 100 feet, okay? And we'll go all the way to the red bed. When we do a country property, we drill it all the way to the bottom of the water table. And usually that's around 230 to 250. So you hit water at 100 feet below level, and then you go all the way to 230, and you got 130 feet of what they call saturated thickness, okay? And so that's not a lake, but that is the saturated thickness of the water. And so that's where we're getting our water. So we perforate the well, and the water seeps into the well bore, and then we pump it out and use it in our houses. And what we're seeing about a 12 to 14 inch drop of the water table a year. We have about 130 to 150 feet of saturated thickness. That's what we're seeing.
Because right now we're in the process of,
Yeah, and that's why you want to keep to the dryscaping as much as possible. You don't want to throw in too much landscaping requirements because that takes water. And that's when you're using up those wells a little bit too much.
Most of our clientele, they don't do a whole lot of water.
A tree or something,
Yeah,
maybe, but
tree.
that's it.
But you're not seeing lush green lawns on these properties.
All right, anybody else have any more questions?
Do you have a list of people ready to move on this project? As far as, yes, buyers?
No.
Now, like I said, they still have months of
Yeah, they just have.
going through, because depending upon whether we give water or not, will be on the plat that they filed with the county.
Yeah, and what we've done out here at Wampat is we've actually set homes up out there, you know, as spec houses. Typically, when we get that done, somebody will come along and will buy it. To do the whole job, to get it all set up, takes about 3 to 5 months. So that's kind of one of the reasons for that. We're just not, we're not out there just kind of building out as fast as we can. We need a job for 10 years too. It's not lovely.
No, your best case scenario is having the roads built in 6 months. It's really gonna be 12 months, and someone will be moving in the first house in 18 months. I mean, really, that's how long it's gonna take.
And that would give the
From
city
past
time on the
experience.
water if we rely. All right, any more questions?
I have one question about the water, but I don't know if anybody here can be able to answer, but are they gonna pay the same that we're paying for water right now?
Can't be the same
Even
water
if they don't
rates.
have the sewer?
Yeah, it's base rate for the water, no matter if they have sewer or not, because sewer is tacked on an additional charge to people who live in the city limits. So these people would just have that water charge, not the sewer.
It'd be like $30, $40 cheaper.
Yeah.
Since we don't have sewer.
Any more questions?
Which we do not have the capacity with our sewer system to take on those.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my big question was, we denied the other.
We do
development.
not have the lines, big enough lines in that area or enough
Lift stations.
lift stations or the appropriate lift stations within town to keep that flowing. So, yeah, sewer's not an option at this point until we get some infrastructure done within the city limits on the sewer.
Did I hear you say right that you guys are gonna cover the full cost of getting the water line over there?
Yeah, we're gonna cover the cost of.
Going across the
The
street.
city will have no expense. We
Yeah,
pay for all
that's-
the infrastructure, we pay for all the meters, all of that.
And does that include fire plugs? Fires, do we require?
They're not in the city limits, but with it being a subdivision, that might be where we visit with fire chief on that a little bit and see if he wants them to put a couple of fire trucks out there.
I mean, if we've talked about, I mean, that was one of the arguments for putting the fire station out there was future development.
Yes.
And so it would only seem reasonable that fire plugs would go out there as well.
I don't disagree with that.
Is that a problem?
I'd have to look, but I think there is a couple of them out there.
I don't think it's a problem. We're working on
The last one we have
the
is.
same type of project contract now, and we're planning on putting fire plugs there, but there, when you do a subdivision in the county, and you have over 100 lots, which that one will, you have to have fire plugs.
Yeah.
So, but I don't see a problem with
At least probably two.
that. Yeah, probably
That means-
one per street,
Yeah, with that many two would probably suffice. All right, any more questions?
So one more comment.
All right,
So with the talk about there not, possibly not having enough water, are we gonna do a study before this is approved to see if we have enough water?
Like I said, I think,
that's one for the commissioners to decide.
right, if we okay, we're going in front of the commission will have to decide what they want to do as far as moving forward on it. Then we need to do an environmental impact study, see how things are going as far as our fixing of our water lines and
Yeah.
wells and everything. So there's a bunch of stuff that still has to be
Yeah,
discussed
it's
in
gonna-
the commission, so.
Okay.
I just would make a comment that, this is, Gordon Hobbs, Levington, we've been supporting, this area.
We need more housing.
I've been here
There is
since
no-
1958 and I want to be, treated like conventional houses. I mean, we're providing housing. If somebody was standing here fixing to build a bunch of stick-built houses, I want that same path if I could, you know what I'm saying?
We need more housing in Lebanon.
Well, this would be the same issue for a stick-built house. But if it was a stick-built house, we still have the same issue as being able to provide water. It doesn't matter whether it's your home or a conventional home in the form of a stick-built house. Yeah, this isn't per se towards manufacturing. It's just making water for people to have.
Well, I appreciate it.
Chili, you got the problems we had with the house we bought.
No, so we got a house and we're gonna go over there.
We appreciate it. We've been here since 1958, Young's.
It's been around.
And we've got the very first license ever issued in the state of Mexico, dealer license number 1. And, we love what we do, and we're not here, to take and leave. We're here, we're gonna stay here, we're gonna be here, we're a vital business, and we support our community, and we definitely include Levington as our community. So,
Yeah, we're not looking, we're just looking to say that if we're gonna provide for you, we want to be able to provide for you. And that's just something that we want to make sure that we're able to.
Yeah, if it gets past us and goes to commission, they'll have to decide where they're gonna go, how much further it's gonna have to go.
Sure.
Because of, like I said, we have our water problems right now, and we're trying to get that resolved so that we don't have that problem anymore.
Yes, ma'am.
And, but we're gonna take a vote and see
Okay.
how this one
I
goes.
appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay,
I noticed there's no staff recommendations. Did you have one, Crystal?
No, I was really trying to wait till I got with, City Water Bernardo, but he has, or Bernard, but he's just been, they have not gotten those, reports that they're
Yeah.
working on, because they are currently working on what the water is, how much volume do we actually have? Do we need to replace wells? Do we just need some wells lifted a little up so they quit standing up so much? And I know they're working with another company that deals report we get, so I just release that all the time. And they just don't have, I didn't have anything, I mean, for the housing part, yes, the city needs housing. That is a given. We definitely need the housing. People are always looking for homes constantly. And affordable homes is something that the city really needs, because don't need another $300,000 or $400,000 homes. A lot of people, it's just, the majority of us cannot afford those.
So is it appropriate that we can make a recommendation upon approval that there's enough water?
That's where I think it would be more to the city commission to
Yeah, I think
decide
that
that,
would be
that
that.
you guys either approve it or don't.
yeah,
You either agree with this or not. I think it's up to the city commission to decide
to
on
go
that.
ahead and approve it.
Well, I'll make
Yeah.
a motion and we go ahead and approve the water services and the ETC for Young's Mobile Home.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Good. Next one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll go for the commissioners now.
Huh?
It'll go for the commissioners.
Next meeting date, no.
We understand.
We do greatly
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
though. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Frank.
you.
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion that we visit action item, special use permit 1208 West Carter.
All right. So a little explanation on an ADU. That is an accessory dwelling unit. Accessory units, of course, are allowed in our backyard, but we have no code on it actually being a living unit. Our code actually says you can only have one living unit per lot. We do have many properties in the city that have illegal ADUs. So I want to work on getting a code together to
Oh, really?
allow these, but I need to see, these people need a place for their,
Grandmother.
your mother-in-law, or grandmother.
Grandmother.
They need a place for her, now. Right now, she's living in the home with them. She's not comfortable, they're not comfortable, but they need her to be close by. They don't need her to be, and, she's efficient enough, they don't want to stick her in a home.
Oh,
And do that. So they just want to build this unit back there that will have a living room, a bedroom, a bathroom, a small little kitchen for her, just so she feels her own freedom still to live her own life. But she doesn't drive. They drive her everywhere. The neighborhood is used to her being around. It's not an extra vehicle in the neighborhood. It's just something this family needs to have done so they can take care of their elderly family relatives.
And Crystal, you were saying that you'd like to look into it and see about having this because we're only allowed one
Yes,
living dwelling unit.
that's why I'm asking for a special use permit.
How long do you feel that it would take you to find out that information, to see that we could get this changed so that we were able to do it?
That's where I need some direction from you and commission to actually look into writing a code for ADUs. That's why I knew it would take probably 6 to 7 months for us to go through the process of writing a code. And it's gonna take when I get some assistance, because right now I'm so busy with permit, I don't have time to write up a code. I can barely have time to research codes. That's why I wanted to go with a special use permit for them, but I do want to also during this address commission when it goes to them about me installing this
yes,
in.
I really
in our,
There's gonna be more of it.
Yes.
There's gonna be more of
So is
it.
that anything that you need direction from us, from the planning?
it would help with that recommendation to
Okay,
go to commission.
Right.
okay,
You guys would recommend that
yes.
I look into
And
adopting
most
this in our,
Is this special use permit, is it gonna be, for as long as they own the property?
yes, special use, well, that's what you
That's.
stipulate. You stipulate, is this a once every year permit that they gotta renew every year? Or is it for while they own the property?
That's what I was saying, while they own the property would be better,
Mhm.
because that way she won't have to come up here and think, oh, I forgot the first year.
Or it could just be tacked on to the property itself.
Yeah,
That, and it, because until this building is destroyed, we're not gonna move a renter in there after grandma's gone.
No.
But if they have another
They
relative
can
who
move
needs
that
to
kid
get
in
in, it may be used.
So this is something they're gonna have built, not gonna
Yes.
bring in a storage shed.
no, they're having something
No.
built.
We have floor plans, this is something that's going to be built to code, to be an actual, it'll be approved by a state inspector to be a living unit.
And
It
it is
will
a
have a-
separate structure
It is a
from
separate structure.
existing.
Yes. We looked at adding on to the back of the home, but that is where all their electrical boxes are for the home. That is where the only window for a couple of those rooms at the back of the home is. And they like, we wouldn't have any light in this room at all then, and we'd have to move all the electrical. And,
That's it.
and they really just want her to have her own little unit to live
She's
in.
got
So
to
she
feel
feels that
independent.
freedom a little bit.
So that's gonna be 12 feet from the existing.
It is going to be, it has to be over 10.
Yeah, if you say it has to be over 10 feet away from the house.
It's actually gonna be 19 foot away from the home.
I couldn't make that out. Okay.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
19.
Yes,
It's 23 feet on the west side away from the fence. It's a 5-foot barrier on that east and north side. That way they have room to mow around it, weed eat around it, control things.
Is there a shed
There's
there?
no issue of roof drainage on
No,
an
that's not
adjacent
gonna-
property, nothing like that. There's a shed there right now, but they're gonna remove that to build this unit.
They're going to remove it or relocate it onto the property. Would that affect the amount of grass you have?
The open space, they can
Yeah.
actually move it over to the other side and still have the open space. I've done the calculations.
have you worked with them as far as the positioning of the building and everything?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I
they
see
did.
that it's 5 feet and 5 feet, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they did. I mean, we've tried to work out several different scenarios on how they can do this. I mean, I've been working with them for a while to try to figure out something we could do, and finally I was like, special use is really all I can do for you.
Let's make it where it's, where homeowners own.
So, in the event that the property's sold or for whatever reason, grandma doesn't live there anymore, is it then allowable to be used as a rental property?
No.
Or does and how do we ensure that it remains that?
That would be,
If it was sold,
mhm,
I mean, you're having a stick-built structure built,
mhm.
which is gonna come at great expense.
See, and that's where,
And I don't want to get into being a family police officer. Are you?
And we
related to this
can't
family?
either.
You know?
and that's where we can't either. So that's where if an accessory dwelling is allowed, and if it is for a family member or if it's rented out for a minimal thing, the only thing you can control is basically telling they would not be allowed to park in the alley for this dwelling. You could govern something like that. You can't really govern who lives in it or if they're charging rent for that or not.
But we've taken a special permit.
Governing that is just too much and we don't have the staffing and you don't have.
But we make it where it's only good for,
And a lot of these places talk about the places that do have it, that it is to generate extra income for a family by having a secondary suite in the backyard. Other towns say they've been, I know the one, what's that?
Well, didn't we have this issue come up several years ago? Where someone was living in they were talking about having special access. And something about parking. Because there was not an acceptable amount of parking for the accessory dwelling.
Correct.
Yeah, and so that was, their
That was
part-
when they wanted to build a multi, like a duplex, and they wanted to have a back entry and a front entry.
yeah.
And there was really no way for, and then the emergency access was not allowable in, they were like, there wasn't enough room in the back to actually have, because that's where you don't want to park in an alley and congesting that alley.
Mhm.
Now, if you could actually have enough space where you could make parking in your backyard, people drive in and park in their backyards all the time.
Well, I can, but if both me and my neighbor both park our cars in the alley, there's no way fire trucks get between.
No, well, that's what I'm saying, you wouldn't allow the parking in the alley. They'd have to have, their parking would have to be within their lot.
But, yeah, but we
Always.
or it's like.
But we can sign up for parking in the
Yeah,
alley.
I'm just saying, by the time we figure that out, the fire truck can't work either. So I'm just playing devil's advocate, because being preacher, I don't get too very often.
You don't want to go too far, did you?
But anyway, but I just want to look at all avenues of that. I'm not opposed to it. I just, I want to make sure we make a wise decision for us and for them.
All right.
And to meet their needs and to do so adequately.
So we're gonna make a special permit for the homeowners that own the home right now. As long as you own the home, this would be good for you.
Okay.
You sell the house, the people that buy it, not gonna be good for them.
Okay.
So they have to come in and get their own.
Yeah, they have to come in and get their own stuff.
Maybe I'll have an ADU code by.
Yeah, and
So how do we word that?
that's, I'm trying to focus on that. We're gonna approve the special needs permit for building of the ADU
For the owners
for the
of.
homeowners only. And
The current.
current homeowners.
Correct.
Current
All
homeowners.
right, I'll make a motion that we approve the special use permit to build an ADU for the current homeowners only at 1208 West Carter.
And we were requesting that the city commissioners,
You already made this motion. Sorry.
I'm gonna make another motion. I'll do that at the end of this. We'll get to that. Okay, next thing. Oh, all those in favor?
I,
All those opposed?
Scott.
Okay.
Both of them second at the same time.
And the nays were no.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I will see you at the commission meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last one. Road closure. Let's have a motion.
That's very functional.
okay, I'll make a motion that we visit the action item road closure at the dead end of Avenue Q.
Okay, so we have a couple new members that haven't seen this before. The rest of us have seen this before. The gentleman who brought this in had doctor's appointments out of town today. He wasn't going to be able to be back. But he did get a petition signed, which is in your package, and it is everyone that is directly affected, which is everyone from Erlacher here all the way to this apartment. He did get every one of their signatures on that petition and other signatures in the area. So the directly affected, he got all of their signatures on that petition, that they are fine with closing off this one access because they have several other ways they can access it.
And we got approval from the fire department.
Got approval from the fire department and the police department. So what has been happening, Elaine and Chuck, is on this road, they have had a lot of traffic that cuts through to those apartments. We had the apartments put up a fence, hoping that would deter this.
You
It
know
is
which
still not.
apartments
They
we're
still
talking
just come right down there, go right around and whoop back in there. So it's still an issue of traffic, and they are not driving slowly at all. They are usually driving pretty quickly down this road. And the thing about this area is this subdivision was built out and somehow allowed to not have any sidewalks. So your children that are walking and people that are walking at night are actually walking out in the street. They're not just, there's no sidewalks to walk on. Which I hate. I don't know why this was done before I started. But again, so we're trying to deal with the problem of the cut through traffic. We also have, we have note of some owners that have reported after I sent out the letters and he visited with people and they got signatures. I had phone calls about people using it as a dump. They would actually pull up there and just dump trash, cement trucks dumping their water in that area, backing up because the pavement goes to right there. So then they just back up and dump right there. They don't have to try to find an alley to dump in their private because we catch cement trucks doing that all the time. They do get cited when they get caught doing it, but it's hard to catch them. I mean, we don't have enough code enforcement to catch them all.
And I know we talked about this the last meeting we were at, as far as, did we come up with a decision what we were gonna?
Didn't, and that's where it was, do we want to do I know when this subdivision was first being built out and they had the homes in there, they had a bunch of just rock and debris there, which did not look attractive and was just full of weeds and trash. So what I was suggesting would be the concrete pillars like they use in the traffic detours to keep. And basically it would go from the fence on the property there on the southwest corner, and it would go clear up to that guy's fence. So that way we'd have to go to his fence, because if we did not, they would cut through his driveway to go through there. So we would do those cement blocks all the way up to his fence.
You were saying the fire department, there is no problem with it. They basically come from the front, not the.
Yeah, they said if they need to get access to that, they can always go right down Erlacher or come right around on P and go down the alley there. Or they can, where the alley goes from in between P and Carter, it ties in and goes straight back that way. So they have several different ways they can access that.
Have you checked with the city? Do we have some available, or are we gonna have to purchase some?
I'm gonna check with Bernardo and I'm gonna check with Constructors Inc.
I think we have.
and see. I know we have a few. I just don't think we have enough to do that.
There's what, take 5 of them?
Mhm.
The only thing I would say is to make sure that we do have enough to block it off all completely.
Yes, completely.
Because if we don't,
Mhm.
they'll find a way to get through.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's what I'm afraid of.
Right, 2.5 already, and then.
When I was a kid, I had a
We
steel
need
bumper on
started.
mine. We moved what we needed to get.
So
So
that way there, we're not worried about somebody's lawn getting ran over, or
Yes.
like you said, children over there getting ran over.
Yes.
So,
And so that's, me and Bernardo can go and make those measurements and find out if we have enough. And then I can also get, when I take this to commission, I'll have that together and I'll have how much, if we don't have enough, how much it would cost us to go ahead and complete that. The height of those cement barricades is about 3 foot.
Yeah, 3 foot.
They're not quite 3, but almost.
It take a really tall vehicle to get over.
You can't drive them from.
No, but I'm saying about dumping.
Yeah, the cement trucks, it would deter them too, because they couldn't back up into the alley and they'd be right in front of that person's home. So they wouldn't want to do it as much.
You can still be seen, you gotta do
Yeah.
it.
Once you block that off, you'll have a lot of the illegal dumping going on, because they like to go right there and back up into that field and dump
Yeah.
and come out.
I'm all for that myself. I know I'm new to the deal, but I do have a couple of things. One, cosmetically, the concrete barriers. What would be wrong with putting up some steel casing, 4-inch or 6-inch, and filling it with concrete and painting them yellow? Something to that effect.
More like bullards.
Allergen.
Paint it yellow. And if they ever had to be moved out of the way, and I'm just throwing out other options is all I'm doing here. But
Okay. Which is all options we can give to commission to make the final decision on it.
because I've seen it with my own
Can we
eyes in
get
the
a
neighborhood, the
price
kids and the vehicles racing, I'll call it, through that street.
Mhm.
It does
It's a
not.
drag strip, dude. But get a price on both deals and see which one would be cost effective. That cost.
Cost efficient.
Yes, that worked today.
yeah, and that's where we were last meeting, Chuck, talking different things that we thought that we could put out there and trying to get an
Yeah,
idea.
trying to get
And
something
there
that
were different things.
some people just
We didn't want to have stuff that was put over there that people could actually move out of the way,
and drive over and
you know, so I mean, we gotta different options.
Well, that's what I was saying a minute ago, you know, those concrete
Mhm.
pillars, if you got a steel bumper,
Yeah.
You
Just-
can move them.
just
Oh,
to
yeah.
be a butt, you can back up to them things and you can go.
Exactly.
First hand up.
Yeah.
He can say that he saw it, yeah.
I was saying at one time,
Something about that yard at the house. And Rush moved it every time.
Yeah, something that's permanent. You don't have to, you know, if they gotta come out, then you're gonna have to have torches or a crane or something to
yeah,
get that stuff out of there. So I said, the last thing I want to do is have some child or somebody get ran over.
absolutely.
Okay, so are we in agreement?
We're in agreement to a barrier, but it's to be determined what kind.
The county commission, the city commissioner can decide which one, because they'll have to decide on the price, which one is viable.
So, all it says is road closure, so we could just approve the road closure.
Okay, all those in favor of closure of the road, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
I will look into the ways to close it and have that prepared for when I take it to commission.
Okay, one more
I'll have
thing.
those
We want the
Wait.
commissioners to do something for you, for the aid, the.
AD.
You make a motion for that?
No, because we're gonna, it's,
No, it's just, in my staff report, I will mention that you guys,
So we're making a recommendation.
you guys make a recommendation that I look into
to the,
accessory dwelling unit code.
We're not making that motion. That would be very out of order.
Yeah.
not making a motion.
No, no.
Take it as a suggestion. It's a suggestion.
Just one other thing I'd like to add is congratulations, Elaine, Chuck,
Yeah, welcome to the board.
coming on board. Appreciate it.
We have another one, but he's not here.
And being a part of us. Also like to thank Ryan, Betty, David, Crystal, Kayleen, for being here, being a part of this and everything you guys do. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy us. We are weird. Anything else? I call this meeting over.
She's good.
We just covered that.
Yeah, they got last one.
It's called.